Welcome, acolytes. As you can see today, I'm reacting to the video from Anyak for Corpse Husband and why he actually got peed on his freaking fans. As I'm gonna look this video up and let's just see what he actually has to say about it. And by the way, me personally, I also was a fan of Corpse Husband horror stories. It's basically because of the voice, let's be honest here. We don't have to lie, he has just a brutally nice voice, and the stories he actually said weren't that special, but what he did really nicely was his music. That's something that he just wrecked. He just did it in a way that's but let's hear the man out what he has to say about this guy. And yeah, and Corpse Husband, by the way, he didn't leave the internet entirely. From my knowledge, he just doesn't want to have anything to do with his fans. So yeah, love can turn to hatred pretty instantly if it's wrongly done. So let's start.
Over the past few years, Corpse Husband has skyrocketed in popularity. You really can't go anywhere without hearing his name or his iconic voice. But over the past year now, his presence has started to fade away. His social media accounts are practically abandoned. He completely stopped streaming on Twitch.
Oh yeah, the social media definitively, and I think this was from his side the best thing he could have done, because he really invests in he puts himself way too much in it. He gives way too big of a F about everybody that's actually in there. And I mean, I am a small YouTuber, a really small one, like at the very beginning, very beginning, and even I learned after the first week, and I even learned it now, that some opinions are just worthless and the only thing you can get from them is content. That's all they are worth, and yeah.
And only one of his YouTube channels gets infrequent music updates. So that begs the question, where did Corpse Husband go? Will he come back? We're gonna go through each reason why Corpse Husband left his community behind.
Yeah, he will probably mention it anyway, but Corpse Husband has something with... He has a throat sickness. That's why his voice sounds as it does, and it's incurable. So it won't get better, the pain won't get better, it's gonna get worse anyway. It's just, well, he just has to do it as far as he can before it comes to an end.
There's more than one reason for him to leave, so it's possible that some or all of them are the cause of this. Make sure to watch the video until the end to hear everything that's going on with Corpse and why he could have left. The first big issue with Corpse is his health. Corpse has been plagued by 3 health conditions his whole life: FMS, GERD, and TOS. FMS is a chronic disease that causes muscular pain, insomnia, and chronic fatigue. GERD causes stomach acid to burn the throat, and TOS causes nerves or blood cells in the upper chest to swell or go numb. These are only summarized versions of what happens with these diseases, but they are all very serious.
At my absolute worst, I remember crawling to the door to get groceries and barely being able to do that. I tried to pour cereal, and then when I went to lift the spoon to my mouth to eat it, I couldn't do it.
FMS has no cure and only worsens with age. GERD has been linked to different kinds of cancers, and TOS can make simple actions like moving your hands very painful. All of these problems have interfered with both his personal life and collabs with other content creators. He's talked about times where it feels impossible to move his body at times. According to Corpse's interview with Anthony Padilla, sometimes the pain is so strong that even simple things like lifting a spoon are impossible. Adding on...
Yeah, and by the way, I definitely didn't do it justice. Those are 3 conditions, and for some reason I just looped them together and thought this is one big condition. So yeah, there's that. that's on me.
Onto this, he's sensitive to bright lights, and his right eye becomes bloodshot after too much exposure. He's forced to cover his eye most of the time to deal with the problem, which irritates his eye and only makes the situation more uncomfortable. It would be completely reasonable for Corpse to leave the internet entirely with all these health complications, as everyday actions can at times feel impossible. But unfortunately, his physical health isn't the only thing affecting his day-to-day life. Corpse has also been struggling with some strong mental health issues as well, with imposter syndrome and anxiety at the front of it all. He's mentioned how a lot of his success doesn't even feel real to him, where every day it feels like he's just drifting through everything that's been happening. Additionally, his anxiety has made it extremely difficult for him to go about his daily life. Since the beginning of his YouTube career, his faceless persona and unique voice made him stand out among other horror story channels. The amount of people paying attention to him only grew with the collabs he found himself a part of.
Do you have to change your voice when you're out in public?
I avoid talking at all costs anywhere in public.
Thanks to his worldwide fame and instantly recognizable voice, he realized that anyone could identify him by his voice alone.
I never talk to anyone over the phone that I don't know.
Because someone would be able to pinpoint who you are.
When my Postmates driver can't find my house and they call me where do you live? I can't even pick up and be like, oh, I live here. Because next thing I know, I answer and he goes, Corpse.
On the phone, anyone can find out where he lived if he's asked for his address. In public, anyone could take a picture of him if they hear him speak. There's nowhere he can hide from his own voice, so he does what he can to keep contact to a minimum. In public, and even before the COVID-19 pandemic, he wears face masks at all times. When he's at the store, he does everything he can to speak as little as possible. But the problems don't end there, as he doesn't even feel completely safe in his own home either. There have been times where he could not even give his food delivery driver his address by voice at the risk of doxing himself. This kind of anxiety could make anyone go mad, and it would make sense if he just wanted to fade into obscurity at this point. Another reason for his departure could be the hate he's...
Yeah, and I mean... Yeah, I understand why. Normally I would say that that's paranoid, but in his case, his voice is one of a kind. If you hear his voice, you probably know, okay, that's him. It's just pretty hard to hide it, so understandable.
He's gotten over the years. As with any popular content creator, hate is bound to come after him at some point. On virtually every tweet he has made, you will find some sort of hate in either the replies or quote retweets. These range from insulting the choice of lyrics in his music to his voice and how strange it sounds. Many comments accuse him of faking his illnesses, using a voice changer, or intentionally making his voice sound different to attract a female audience.
Yeah, and by the way, comments like this, that change your voice to attract a female audience, fair game, in my opinion. It's not real then, but hey, it is what it is, it works. Let's just say it like that. It doesn't harm anyone really, so yeah. If the rest, or even this, just faking the sickness and such, I actually understand where people are coming from there, because these days everybody shows a sickness, everybody's sick for something, everybody has distress, everybody does this, everybody cries that around. You know, it's just sick how many people actually pretend to be sick and then they just aren't, and it's also hard to believe, to be honest. But in this case, I believe Corpse, but yeah, it's still understandable why people wouldn't believe him, in my opinion. And the other thing is the rest of the comments, you just have to ignore things like that, and not everyone can ignore that. And as I said, I see it a bit differently, because I actually want some information out of someone that I disagree with. I like to disagree with people or talk to people that disagree with me, and as long as they actually try to have a normal freaking just speak to me like a normal human being, I don't actually have a problem with that. But then there are some people that are just, well, I wouldn't even say stupid, just dishonest, they just also present strawman arguments that don't make sense in my case, or maybe there is something I misunderstand, they misunderstand, I don't know for the life of me. And yeah, it's pretty hard to actually talk to those people like a normal human being. And at the end, I have to say, well, if you don't wanna, you don't wanna.
Corpse was convinced that random people would hate on any random videos or tweets he would make, all due to his popularity. One of the strangest examples of this was when Corpse tweeted out a voice memo of him simply inhaling and exhaling. All he did was breathe, and yet it went viral. Trending with the hashtag #OnlyBreaths, the memo tweet received over 400,000 likes.
Yeah, and by the way, there I have to say it's his own fault. No, not his own fault, because of course the people that do it, they are assholes for that. Don't get me wrong. But if he just didn't do the thing he did, well, you know, shit wouldn't happen.
Despite the positive reception from fans, many people went in and insulted both Corpse himself and his fan base. They made fun of his fans for going insane over Corpse simply breathing, and Corpse himself for his strange voice. This all served to prove that random people will hate the things he does for random reasons.
People will get mad at anything that's popular. I guarantee you I'm gonna get so much shit for literally breathing. They'll be like, oh my god, you guys are so obsessed with him. Like, look at it, he's just breathing, and then like, or he's trying to breathe super sexually, or like, it's literally just breathing, but people want to spin it to be that.
And with his mental state...
No, and I will repeat, if you do something ASMR, like ASMR, it was, if you breathe in a mic, it's more or less ASMR, and with his voice it just sounds sexual, because this raspy, mighty sounding voice, it's just like, let's be honest here, we don't have to talk around it. And in your specific case, in Corp's specific case, I understand why people would say that, because he does it, he just sounds like he does. Maybe he doesn't realize it, but it is what it is in his case. And yeah, I would say that his entire thing, his entire head space is a bit of his fault, and but it's also understandable because, well, he's a really he had bad luck with his health. It was just really bad luck. So yeah,
the way that it is, he might not be able to handle all the negative attention he gets on a daily basis. It might have been enough to push him away from social media for good, as he might not have been able to handle it all. Alongside the random bits of hate he got, Corpse also found himself involved in online drama. The first issue came from the use of the derogatory D word in an old horror story video. The D word is a term used against the trans community, leading to many labeling him as transphobic on Twitter.
The D word, Okay, I don't know what
Numerous
it is,
people
to be
messaged
honest.
Corpse to apologize for the remark made years ago, to which he responded and apologized.
About a year ago, I was sent in a story from someone who's trans. I was glad to cover this story despite some backlash I might get from like boomers and shit, because I wanted to show the struggles of what trans people go through. And
Oh, mate, let us boomers in peace. I am also a boomer, and to be honest, I just don't give a F about the entire trans stuff. Don't get me wrong, I don't like the freaking Alphabet Commando, because that's a group that I actually think this is a toxic representation of everything, and a lot of people just abuse the power they get through it, that they just cannot be touched. And yeah, that's actually something I disagree with, but I have nothing, absolutely nothing against gay people in any way, shape or form. It's just purely this one group that actually represents the most negative aspects of it, and that's the problem in my opinion. So just please, let the boomers be boomers. Please. Like, it's not every single boomer's fault that a few idiots just say what they say. And of course, you just have to say the negative stuff if it happens. Like, if a boomer content creator that I know does something like that, I'm gonna point it out because he's just an idiot for that. And no matter how much you think that it's just boomers, mate, your generation isn't better. It's way worse. The generation Z, I think, is it right now? A lot of people just grew up in extremely toxic environments, and they have to learn that hate isn't always the best thing to do. Over the long run, it's a really, really bad decision, bad thing to actually do and keep in your heart, because, well, you won't get happy. You just won't be happy. It is what it is. You just won't be happy.
Support trans people. TLDR, the story is about an old Christian woman who is trying to hurt them and do horrible things to them. During the story, the person who is trans is called the D word. In the video, I read the word out loud, and I realize now I shouldn't have done that. I didn't realize the severity of the word, or else I obviously wouldn't have said it. There are over 2,000 comments.
No, never apologize for that. This was, I mean, if you just didn't know, you just go on and say, okay, I won't say it again because I think it's bad, but don't apologize for it. It's nonsense to apologize for it. It just doesn't. You made a mistake. You made an honest mistake. If it's true, if the thing you just said is true, you just did an honest mistake, and mistakes happen. Don't even apologize. Just say, "Yep, I did it. Own it," and just go forwards with it.
Comments on the video, and none of them mention it. I had no idea this hurt anybody at all, and that's the last thing I want to do. I've taken the video down now. I understand my mistake, and I'm sorry. Thank you to the people trying to teach me about this. Some people were just blindly hating me, but most of the people I've seen have been very reasonable, and I really appreciate that. I'm probably going to get off everything for a little bit. Thank you.
His community reacted positively to the apology, but this would not be the last instance of this. Soon after, people came across another old video by Mamax, where he used the R word in 2017. Fans...
Oh, come on. Past mistakes. Just let it go. It's... things that... the mistakes or the comments you made a freaking year ago doesn't mean that you still believe in those things that you said or believe the same thing. It's actually called growth. If you grow as a human being, you change your mind, and sometimes, well, sometimes you just make some mistakes, and this is what it is. And as I said, just own it, okay? I did it, and now what?
He's messaged him en masse to apologize for another word he said years ago when he was 19. In his apology, he states that the script he read from was never written by him, but he still chose to say the word and holds accountability for that. Once again, fans accepted his apology and thanked him for his willingness to accept accountability. But this need to walk on eggshells for his audience may have been yet another thing that put him on edge.
Yep.
While his fans aren't doing anything necessarily wrong by holding him accountable, it still has an effect on someone with as much anxiety as Corpse. The fans just want to make sure Corpse doesn't stand by what he did, but it's possible Corpse himself now thinks he needs to watch every single thing he says. Either that or run the risk of being turned on by...
The people that watch him, for the most part, are very, very focused on negativity. So yes, he specifically has to watch what he says, because they gonna just rip him apart like a hyena. But he doesn't have to apologize for everything, and he can't stay strong and just tell them to F off. That's also a thing he can do. And I think this was a mistake. I could also be wrong, because, well, I'm not that long at social media, so I don't know how to navigate it perfectly like other people. So, but I honestly think that Corpse just wasn't a bad dude. He just got really unlucky, and his mindset was also a bit too negative for his best case scenario for himself, and yeah, that's just bad luck.
By the fans who should be on his side. While there's no excuse for using offensive language today, things were much different in the past. The amount of pressure to stay clean at all costs, or else face the wrath of online groups, may be enough to push someone to stop chasing content creation entirely.
Easily.
Corpse has said multiple times that he's afraid to show his face to his audience. The idea of not being able to live up to people's expectations terrifies Corpse.
The reasoning, I don't agree. Live up to... Although... the thing that happened with the dream... maybe more understandable than I give it credit for. Yeah, probably. But at the end of the day, just if you don't want to show your face, don't. Just, as I said, just own it. And yeah, your voice won't ever match your looks, probably. I mean, he could be a mega Chad, but doubtful, but hey.
And he would do anything to avoid that situation. He often asks his fans not to pry into his personal life, for fear of being recognized and just generally wanting to keep to himself. And yet, many people did not respect this wish of his. There have been numerous fake Corpse Husband real face leaks over the years.
And I've seen some people, spreading fake DMs that have been photoshopped to show like, oh, Corpse revealed his face and look what he looks like. And I know, because I've seen you, granted you had a mask on, but I've seen you don't look anything like these people. But these poor people are getting completely shit on for looking that way.
With the most well-known one being made back in 2021. A tweet with the simple caption, "Babe, wake up, Corpse Husband face reveal just dropped." And a picture of his supposed face got a lot of attention. Many fans lashed back against the tweet, saying that it was an invasion of Corpse's privacy. Some even...
And those who said it is an invasion of Corpse privacy are correct about it. Because you shouldn't do that. If the person doesn't want to show their face, just get a life, get a hobby, and don't do it, mate. Just don't. Just don't.
And that this could be fake anyways, and that using some random man's face could end with a complete stranger being harassed for no reason. Many people associate that face with Corpse Husband, whether it's his or not. But soon after that tweet, a video would be released that ended up blowing everything even further out of proportion. An obsessive fan would make a video revealing Corpse's real name, apartment address, and even the location where he used to practice parkour.
Oh, what? He practiced parkour? What the F? Really? Damn. Damn, okay, didn't expect... I didn't know that one, so...
All of this effort to reveal the identity of a man dealing with crippling anxiety and severe health complications, whose only real established boundary was not to pry into his personal life. He has spoken about his concerns over face leaks before, fake or real. Oftentimes the fake leaks would be of normal-looking American men, often ending with them being made fun of. Due to the way his voice sounds and the mysterious aura he's built over the years, there's an expectation for how Corpse could look like. Corpse knows he can never live up to the expectations of everyone, and it eats away at him. He lives in constant fear that he will be made fun of for however he happens to look, as it would run contrary to the persona he built up for himself. He has yet to respond to the 2021 face reveal, and at this point it's doubtful he ever will. However, there is one more reason for Corpse to leave social media behind. Thankfully, it's a much more positive reason than the ones previously mentioned, and it's still a possibility. Over the years, Corpse has managed to produce multiple songs, as well as voice acted in the anime Tribe 9. All his songs on YouTube even managed to reach millions of views. He could very well have decided to move on from social media and streaming entirely to focus on both his music and voice acting careers. He even released a new song relatively recently, uploading it only about a month ago. The short song already managed to get 1 million views. In a short announcement, he also stated that more would be coming soon.
Yeah, that song drops for everyone in like 30 minutes. It was storming some weeks ago, and I made a few songs, and it felt like a picture of a certain moment in time for me, but in audio form. And I was like, oh, this would be fun to drop, but I don't really care how it does or anything, so I'm just gonna drop it and not think about it. That's what that is. And I have the best, heavier stuff I've ever made coming soonish, but I don't want to say any dates because we know how that goes. Thank you for everything.
While he may not be making any videos or streaming on Twitch, we at least know that he's still making music. There may still be a day where he returns to streaming again. Only a few days ago, he was spotted playing Sons of the Forest with many popular streamers like Sekuno and Ironmouse. While this doesn't confirm or deny his eventual return, he can at least be seen having fun with his friends. If anything, at least fans can know that he's still in the company of his friends. It's important to mention that while Corpse is afraid of the world's expectations for him, he still does appreciate the things his YouTube channel has given him.
As he
He's
should.
met many of the content creators he's called his friends in person as well, despite his serious anxiety and health problems. He's done interviews with Anthony Padilla, streamed to hundreds of thousands of people, and managed to find success in the music industry. Despite the stress he has faced online, the anxiety that's come with his fame, and the abandonment of his social media, he still loves the fans that he has today. There is a lot to unpack.
And by the way, he is rich. He doesn't have to worry about money if he invested smartly. So yeah, that's also a big positive he has, and we cannot forget it. Because yes, even though I don't want to write too long on it, because he deserves it. I think he deserves it. Yeah, he deserves it pretty much. So, but still, he's rich. He has one problem less than really I think most of us have, so.
Regarding Corpse husband's departure from social media and regular content as a whole. Whether he returns or not is only up to him now. And whatever he decides, we can only hope that he remains strong enough to hold on, despite the negativity he may be subjected to. What do you think the reason for him leaving his channel behind could have been?
Because he's a monster. No, it's because of the negativity and that he just cannot really cope with it. But hey, I'm not in his head. That's just a theory from me. Crazy theory. So, good night.